I borrowed a little lighting magic from my favorite old master, Mr. Rembrandt, to use on my own self-portrait. Every professional cameraman will tell you it takes great lighting to shoot a great picture, and I don't think anyone would question that statement. For the portrait painter, much the same is true, and it's really not that difficult to learn some basic setups that will get you going in the right direction. We'll start with just one light. It's straight out to our right. The left side of his face is completely dark. This is very dramatic lighting and can be very effective for an unusual portrait. But it might be a little too harsh in some cases, especially for women and kids. A white wall or a large piece of white foam core to bounce some light in from the other side for a little fill can be very helpful. If you want to get a little creative, you can throw a light that's high and behind the subject. But remember, these dramatic lighting styles aren't acceptable for just everybody. Here's one lit from below. It's also very dramatic and mostly used to make people look scary. Actors used to be lit that way many years ago for horror films. Not very practical for your everyday portraits. Here's one where the light is brought around toward the front to about a 45-degree angle to the subject and a few feet above eye level. This is probably the best to at least start lighting your subject before you begin moving around to do a little experimenting. And if you have a second light or some kind of reflector to fill in the left side, this will always look good. Now here's one lighting setup you should avoid like the plague. A light coming directly from you. This is what people always get when using a flash from the camera. It flattens out the subject, giving you fewer shadows, which you need for good modeling and getting a three-dimensional look to the painting. It's fine for photos, but not good for paintings. Here's one that I'm having a tough time satisfying a client with right now. It was supplied by the client and looks fine as a photo, but the painting is very weak. By the way, the pose is something else you'd consider as well. Maybe a profile would be interesting, or looking up, or looking down, or even looking over the shoulder. Probably the safest and most flattering is the three-quarter view. That, with the two-light setup we had before, will work 90% of the time. Plus, another trick that makes a portrait more interesting is this. Try to have the shoulders, the head, and the eyes pointed in different directions. You'll notice here, his shoulders are pointed about 45 degrees to our right. His head is aimed almost to us, and his eyes are looking directly at us. This is how we get the effect where people say, "The eyes are following me." Where else could they look but where you painted them to look? And of course, don't forget the standing pose. The same lighting still works, but be sure it includes the hands, unless of course you prefer them to be in the shadows. Now, after all that, I found that the very best lighting is the simplest and it's free. Get your subject near a window that doesn't have direct sunlight and you're done. The soft sunlight flowing across your client is hard to beat. Make sure the light is not at your back or you're back to the flash from the camera problem. But anything else always looks great. Thanks for watching. I hope this helps you make better portraits. For more pointers and training, get my DVD titled How I Did It. The ordering information is on my website at this address.